Good evening, everyone. Now, I'm going to carry on the first chapter on data and statistics, particularly the third section on data sources. As you know, that data can be basically obtained from existing sources or from surveys and experimental studies designed to collect new data. Now, what you have to remember, which is important, that there is a distinction between two schools of thoughts. The first mainstream, which tells us that there is data which is primary and the data which is secondary. Regarding the first primary data is data which is originated for the first time by the researcher through direct effort and experience, specifically for the purpose of addressing his research problem. Whereas secondary data, it implies second-hand information which is already collected and recorded by any person other than the user for a purpose, not only relating to the current research problem, right? About existing sources, which is the subsection under the main section, data sources. In some cases, data which is needed for a specific application already exists. Companies maintain a variety of databases about their employees, about their customers, about their daily transaction, and about their business operations in general. Data on employee salaries, ages, and years of experience can usually be obtained from internal company's record, right? Other internal records contain data on sales, advertising spendings, distribution costs, inventory levels, and production quantities. Most companies also maintain detailed data about their own customers. For example, the table 1.2, it shows us what some of the data commonly available from internal company records, right? For example, let's talk about employee records. You might find name of that particular employee, his address, his social security number, salary, number of vacation days, number of sick days, and bonuses. In regard to the production record, you might find part or product number, quantity produced, direct labor cost, and material costs. With regard to customer profile, you might find his age, his gender, his income level, his household size, address, and preferences. As an important or additional information that you have to know now is that organizations that specializes in collecting and maintaining the data make available substantial amount of business and economic data. Companies themselves access, these external data sources through either leasing arrangement or by purchase. In table 1.3, there is some examples of data which is available from some sort of selected government agencies. A government agency like Office of Management and Budget, you might come across data on revenues, expenditure, which is spending, and debt of the federal government. When it comes to Department of Commerce, you come across data on business activity, value of shipments by industry, level of profits by industry, and growing and declining industries, etc., etc. About customers' opinion questionnaire used by Shop City Grill restaurant in Naples, Florida. Here, sometimes the data needed for a specific application are not available through existing sources, right? In such cases, the data can often be obtained by conducting a statistical study, right? Statistical studies can be classified as, either experimental or observational. In an experimental study, a variable of interest is first identified. Then one or more other variables are identified and controlled so that data can be obtained about how they influence the variable of interest. For example, let's say a pharmaceutical firm might be interested in conducting an experiment to learn about how a new drug affects blood pressure. Blood pressure is the variable of interest in the study, and the dosage level of the new drug is basically, so to say, another variable that is hoped to have a causal effect on blood pressure. So to obtain data about the effect of the new drug, researchers select a sample of individuals. The dosage level of the new drug is controlled, as different groups of individuals are given different dosage levels. Before and after data on blood pressures or on blood pressure are collected for each group. Statistical analysis of the experimental data can help determine how the new drug affects blood pressure. Non-experimental or observational studies. Statistical studies make no attempt to control the variables of interest. A survey is perhaps the most common type of observational study. For instance, in a personal, let's say in interview survey, research questions are first identified, then a questionnaire is designed and administered to a sample of individuals. Some restaurants, for instance, use observational, studies to get data about customer opinions on the quality of food, quality of service, hemisphere, and so on, right? About the data acquisition errors as the last subsection under the third section, data sources, managers should always be aware of the possibility of data errors in statistical studies. Using erroneous data can be worse than not using the data at all. I mean, an error in data acquisition occurs, whenever the data value obtained is not equal to the true or actual value that would be obtained with a correct procedure. Such errors can occur in a number of ways. For example, an interviewer might make a recording error, such as a transposition in writing the age of a 24-year-old person as 42. Or the person answering an interview question might misinterpret the question and provide an incorrect response. So now we come to the end of the third section. We have seen three main subsections. The first was about existing sources, then statistical studies, and finally data acquisition errors. So we've come to end. Thank you for listening. See you soon. Goodbye.